learners. I am Dr. Meenu Bhatnagar from the Center of Russian Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. I welcome you all to this course on Basics of Russian Communication Skills. In this module, you will be introduced to the aspects of verb. You have learnt about the three tenses, namely the present, past and future. The tense tells you when the action took place, but the aspects of verb indicate if the action is completed or ongoing. I'll repeat, the aspects of verb indicate if the action is completed or ongoing. The aspects of verb may seem a bit hard to understand in the beginning, but we will try to make it simple and easy for you to understand. So please pay attention. Let's start the topic. Aspects of verb. In Russian, the aspects of verb is called vidhi glagola. I'll repeat, vidhi glagola. Aspect is vid and verb is glagol. Most of the Russian verbs have two aspects, namely imperfective and perfective. Imperfective aspect in Russian is called nesavershenny vid. I'll repeat, imperfective aspect is called nesavershenny vid in Russian. Perfective aspect in Russian is called savershenny vid. I'll repeat, perfective aspect in Russian is called savershenny vid. So we will now understand what is the difference between savershenny vid and nesavershenny vid, perfective as well as imperfective aspect. There are three ways by which the verbs of perfective aspect differ from their imperfective verbs. First and foremost, the verbs of the perfective aspect differ from their imperfective verbs by prefixes. What are the prefixes? Prefixes are a group of letters or an affix which is put before any word. In this case, it is a verb, so the group of letters that you put before the verb are called prefixes. So the perfective aspect differ from the imperfective verbs by prefixes. The verb of the perfective aspect differ from their imperfective aspect also by suffixes. Suffixes are affixes which are placed after the word, at the end of the word, or in our case it is the verb. So first difference is by prefixes, second difference of imperfective verb as perfective aspect from the imperfective verbs is by suffixes, and the third way by which the perfective aspect may differ is by having a different root. So these are the three ways in which a perfective aspect verb differs from their imperfective verbs. Let us learn some imperfective and perfective verbs to understand this. Let us see first the perfective aspect, which differ from the imperfective verbs by prefixes. Prefixes like po, pra, na, u, vu and some others are added to the imperfective verbs to make the perfective verb. As you can see, the imperfective verb chitach has a perfective aspect counterpart as prachitach. Chitach, prachitach. So a prefix pra is added to the imperfective verb chitach to make the perfective aspect verb prachitach. Chitach, prachitach means to read. So chitach is the imperfective nesavershenny vid and prachitach is the perfective vid. Prachitach is the perfective aspect or savershenny vid. Next verb is Zaftrikach. Zaftrikach means to have breakfast, which is an imperfective verb or a nisavarshini vid. The perfective counterpart of this verb is also formed by adding a prefix. In this case, the prefix pa is added to make the perfective aspect verb. So, Zaftrikach is imperfective. Its perfective counterpart is pazaftrikach. Zaftrikach, pazaftrikach. Both means to have breakfast. Let us take up another verb, abhyedach. Abhyedach means to have lunch. Abhyedach is an imperfective verb. The perfective counterpart of this verb is also formed by adding a prefix pa. So, abhyedach, imperfective. The perfective verb is pabhyedach. Abhyedach, pabhyedach. Both the verbs mean to have lunch. Another verb we can take up is slushach. Slushach is an imperfective verb which means to listen. The perfective aspect of this verb is also formed by adding pa to the imperfective verb. So, the perfective aspect will be paslushach. Slushach, paslushach. Slushach is imperfective, paslushach is the perfective counterpart of the verb slushach. Both the verbs slushach, paslushach means to listen. See some more verbs with different prefixes. Let us learn the verb jielach. Jielach is an imperfective verb which means to do. Jielach has a perfective aspect which is formed by adding a prefix s. So, jielach, the perfective aspect will be zjielach. Jielach, zjielach. Here the prefix s is added to the imperfective to form the perfective aspect. Zjielach is the perfective verb. Jielach and zjielach. Jielach, imperfective. Zjielach, perfective. Both the verbs mean to do. Let's take up one more example. Igraj, which means to play. Igraj is also an imperfective verb. The perfective aspect is formed by adding a prefix s, the same, s. Igraj, sigraj. Igraj, sigraj, both mean to play. Igraj is imperfective aspect and sigraj is the perfective aspect. Let us take one more verb, vidit. Vidit means to see. Vidit is an imperfective aspect verb. Its perfective counterpart is formed by adding the prefix u to the imperfective form. So, uvidit. Vidit, uvidit. Vidit, uvidit means to see. Vidit is imperfective and uvidit is perfective aspect verb. Pisach. Pisach means to write. The perfective aspect of this verb is napisach, where the prefix na is added to the imperfective verb. So, pisach, napisach. Pisach, napisach means to write. Pisach is imperfective and napisach is perfective. Let us again revise the perfective and imperfective aspects of these verbs which are formed by adding a prefix. So, chitach, prachitach, zaftrikach, pazaftrikach, abhyedach, pabhyedach, slushach, paslushach, jielach, zjielach, igraj, sigraj, vidit, uvidit, pisach, napisach. As you can see, the perfective verbs which are formed by adding prefixes are conjugated in the same manner as the perfective counterpart. So, chitach is conjugated like ya chitayu, ti chitayish, on chitayat, ana chitayat, mui chitayim, vui chitayche, ani chitayut. The perfective aspect of this verb is prachitaj. It will be conjugated in the same manner as chitaj. Only thing is that you will add the prefix pra in each form. So ya chitayu imperfective conjugation, ya prachitayu, ti chitayish, ti prachitayish for imperfective, on chitayat for perfective, on prachitayat, ana chitayat, ana prachitayat, mui chitayam, mui prachitayam, vui chitayche, vui prachitayche, ani chitayut, ani prachitayut. So the conjugation is same as the imperfective. The only difference is for the perfective verbs you will conjugate by adding prefix in each form. The second way the verbs of perfective aspect differ from the imperfective verbs is by suffixes. We will see now how the two counterparts differ based on the suffixes. You can see the verb pavtaryaj. Pavtaryaj means to repeat, to revise. The perfective counterpart of this verb is pavtarij. Pavtarij. As you can see in the imperfective verb, the last three letters are ya, te and soft sign pavtaryaj, but in the perfective aspect those three words are different. So here the difference between the two verbs is two types of verbs, two aspects of verbs is established by suffixes. So pavtaryaj, pavtarij means to repeat. Pavtaryaj is imperfective and pavtarij is perfective aspect verb. Let us take up another verb, strichaj. Strichaj is an imperfective verb which means to meet. The perfective counterpart of this verb is vstriechich. Vstriechich. Both vstrichaj and vstriechich mean to meet. Vstrichaj is imperfective aspect verb and vstriechich is perfective aspect. Atkrivaj, atkrij. This is the next verb, atkrivaj, atkrij. Atkrivaj is an imperfective verb which means to open. Atkrij is the perfective counterpart of atkrivaj. Atkrij is perfective aspect verb. So atkrivaj and atkrij both mean to open. Atkrivaj is imperfective and atkrij is perfective verb. Paluchaj, paluchij. Paluchaj is imperfective and paluchij is perfective aspect verb. Here also the difference lies in the different endings or the suffixes. Paluchaj, paluchij mean to receive. Paluchaj is imperfective, paluchij is perfective. Raskazivaj, raskazaj. Raskazivaj means to narrate. Raskazivaj is an imperfective verb and the perfective counterpart of this verb is raskazaj. Raskazivaj, raskazaj mean to narrate. Raskazivaj is imperfective and raskazaj is perfective. Let us revise again. Pavtaryaj, pavtarij. Pavtaryaj, pavtarij. To repeat, to revise. Vstrichaj, vstriechij. Vstrichaj, vstriechij. To meet. Atkrivaj, atkrij. Atkrivaj, atkrij. To open. Paluchaj, paluchij. To receive. Paluchaj, paluchij. To receive. Raskazivaj, raskazaj. Raskazivaj, raskazaj. To narrate. The third way in which the perfective aspect differ from the imperfective aspect verb is by having a different root. Let us see some examples of the imperfective and perfective verbs. Gavarij, you have learnt this verb gavarij, which means to speak. Gavarij is an imperfective aspect verb. The perfective aspect of this verb is skazaj. Skazaj. Gavarij and skazaj both mean to speak. Gavarij is an imperfective aspect verb and skazaj is perfective aspect verb. Pakupaj. Pakupaj means to buy. Pakupaj is an imperfective verb. The perfective aspect of this verb is formed by the verb kupij. Kupij. Pakupaj, kupij both mean to buy. Pakupaj is an imperfective aspect and kupij is perfective aspect. As you can see, both skazaj and kupij have a completely different root. Gavarij, skazaj, pakupaj, kupij. We can take one more example. The verb brach. Brach means to take. It is an imperfective aspect verb. The perfective aspect verb is vzять. Vzять. Brach, vzять. Here also the perfective aspect differs from the imperfective aspect verb by having a different root. I will repeat: gavarij, skazaj, pakupaj, kupij, brach, vzять. You can see that the imperfective and perfective verbs are formed from different roots. Let us now understand the type of action these perfective and imperfective verbs denote. Let us begin with the imperfective aspect and the type of action the imperfective aspect verbs denote. The verb of an imperfective aspect denotes an action in progress or an ongoing action. If you remember, when we started this topic, I had told you that the aspect of the verb denote whether the action is completed or ongoing. So, when you're using the imperfective aspect verb, that means the action is in progress or an ongoing action. And the action may be in progress in the present tense or one that was in progress in the past or the one that will take place in future. So, the imperfective aspect verb can denote an action in progress in present tense, in past tense as well as in future tense. For example, the verb chitaj, it's an imperfective verb. So, imperfective verb, as I told you, will denote an action in progress or an ongoing action. So, ya chitayu knigu, it means I am reading a book. Here you can see the action is ongoing in present tense. The imperfective verb can also be used to denote an action in the past, ongoing action in the past tense. So, past tense now you know. So, the ya chittal knigu, here the verb is conjugated in past tense. Ya chittal knigu means I was reading a book. Here ya chittal knigu, the verb, imperfective verb, denotes an ongoing action in past tense. For future tense, you will use the form of the verb być along with the verb chitaj. Ya budu chitaj knigu. Ya budu chitaj knigu is I will read a book. So, here also the imperfective aspect verb is denoting an action which will be in progress in future. So, ya chitayu knigu Here the imperfective aspect verb is denoting an action that is in progress in present. Ya chital knigu, the past tense form of the imperfective verb, is denoting an action which is ongoing, which was in progress in the past. And ya budu chitach knigu, this will denote an action that will go on in future. So the imperfective aspect of the verb is used to denote an action in the past, in the present and future. The second condition where the verb of an imperfective aspect is used is to denote an action that takes place repeatedly. That is, to denote a habitual action. I'll repeat. The imperfective aspect verb can be used to denote an action that takes place repeatedly. That is, to denote a habitual action. For example, я играю в cricket каждый день. Каждый день is every day. Я играю в cricket. I play cricket every day. So here the every day is denoting that the action is taking place repeatedly, daily. So to denote such an action, you use the form of imperfective verb. Я играю в cricket каждый день. I play cricket every day. Let us take one more example. Вечером я обычно смотрю телевизор. Here in this sentence, the word обычно means often. The word itself indicates that action is taking place repeatedly. So вечером я обычно смотрю телевизор. The verb смотреть is imperfective verb, which again indicates that the verb action is taking place more than once. So вечером я обычно смотрю телевизор. I often watch TV in the evening. I often watch TV. So often here indicates the action which is taking place repeatedly. In this meaning, adverbs like usually, often, every day, etc. may be used in a sentence to denote the repetition of that action. The verb of imperfective aspect is also used to denote simultaneous action. So first was to denote action which is in progress or ongoing. Second was to denote a habitual or a repeated action. The third condition to use imperfective aspect verb is to denote simultaneous actions. It means the two actions which take place simultaneously. So the verb of an imperfective action the verb of the imperfective aspect can be used to denote two actions which take place at the same time. For example, вчера вечером я слушала радио и писала письмо. Вчера вечером я слушала радио и писала письмо. Yesterday evening I was listening to radio and writing a letter. So слушать and писать, these are the two verbs which are taking place at the same two verbs that are denoting two different actions taking place at the same time. Вчера вечером я слушала радио, I was listening to radio, и писала письмо, and was writing a letter. So listening to radio and writing a letter, both actions were taking place at the same time. To denote such actions which take place at the same time, we use the imperfective verbs. So listening and writing are simultaneous actions. Next example that we will take is on смотрит телевизор и ест шоколад. The verbs are смотреть and есть. Смотреть means to watch and есть means to eat. See, these two actions in present tense are taking place at the same time. So, on смотрит телевизор и ест шоколад means he is watching television and eating a chocolate. So, two actions, watching and eating, are taking place simultaneously. So, to denote such actions which take place at the same time, you use verbs of imperfective aspect. The verbs of imperfective aspects are also used after certain verbs. The verbs that denote phases of an action like to start, to continue, or to end. So, when you combine the imperfective aspect verb, so you combine the imperfective verbs with the verbs which denote to start, to continue, and to end. So, to start in Russian is denoted by verbs начинать, начать. Начинать, начать. It means to start. So, the second verb that you will be using with these verbs will be only of imperfective aspect. Similarly, to continue, продолжать, продолжить. The verb продолжать, продолжить means to continue. The second verb that may be used with these verbs will also belong to the imperfective aspect. Again, imperfective verb may also be used with a verb denoting phases of action like кончать, кончить. Кончать, кончить denote the completion of an action. Completion. To end. Кончать, кончить means to end. So, the second verb that you may use with these verbs will also be always from imperfective aspect. For example, я начал изучать русский язык год назад. Начал изучать. Изучать is an imperfective verb. Because we are using the verb which indicates to start, you will always be combining it with the second verb which will belong to the imperfective aspect. So, я начал изучать русский язык год назад means I started learning Russian a year ago. Let us quickly revise the type of action the verb of imperfective aspect denote. The verb of imperfective aspect is used to denote an action in progress or an ongoing action. It is also used to denote actions that take place repeatedly. The verb of an imperfective aspect is similarly used to denote simultaneous actions. So, the action in progress, action that takes place repeatedly, and two actions that take place simultaneously. To denote such actions, we will always use the verb of an imperfective aspect. Dear learners, in this module, you have learnt about the aspects of verb and particularly about the imperfective aspect. I hope you will revise and practice so that you don't forget what you have just learnt. I wish you success. Удачи вам. Thank you. Спасибо.